Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Relationship Bootcamp Podcast with Pastor Will. I pray that my mic is working okay. I look like I'm having some technical difficulties, but if you all can chime in and let me know that we're coming in okay, I would greatly appreciate it. For some reason, I'm not getting a great connection. And now y'all got me nervous. Nobody's responding. But I do thank you all for joining me. My intent is to have a great discussion this afternoon on expectations and growing apart. Expectations and growing apart. It's part of the 10 um, reasons why relationships fail. So if I'm coming through okay, y'all let a brother know. Um, but I do want to jump in on this discussion today and hear from you all and see what your thoughts are on this particular topic. Let me double check. No one has said anything. I would. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'm trying to make sure. It looks like I'm okay, but I'm not 100% certain, and nobody's responded yet. Hello, hello. Thank you, Pamela. It took me forever to get a response back from you all on our discussion topic today. But thank you all for letting me know. And we're live, so that's why I'm having this back and forth to anybody that's listening on my podcast. We rebroadcast it on our podcast. And y'all forgive me, I've been forgetting to upload it, but we have some great discussions, and I'm going to share those on our podcast a little bit later. But I certainly appreciate all of you all for joining in. Y'all hit those shares, hit those likes, tag somebody as we jump in to our discussion points today. And what I want to talk about is out of the top 10 reasons relationships fail. We've been through a few of them. Some of them we didn't talk about much, so I'll be able to double back on them. We've talked about communications breakdown. We're supposed to talk about financial incompatibility, but we never got to that one. We did deal with infidelity and lack of intimacy, and again, other worthy topics to go back and deal with. Um, I want to talk today about incompatible expectations and growing apart. Incompatible expectations and growing apart. I have a philosophy about expectations. I've shared this story before and I'll share it again a little bit later. But it has to do with something that me and my former spouse went through when it comes to expectations. Um, and then we're going to talk about why we grow apart. Why we grow apart. And I may not do it in that order, but those are the two reasons, or two of the reasons why relationships fail. Two others are external pressures and stress, addictions and mental challenges and issues. And this one, which I think did rear, when I think about it and some of the challenges that I went through, this one here, loss of individual identity. Loss of individual identity. And I found that one to be very prominent, even in my own counseling with other couples who are struggling, the loss of individual identity. But today I want to talk about these specific topics, which are expectations and growing apart. Expectations and growing apart. So I posed two questions to the group in my text message. Well, I didn't put it in that text message. I put it in the chat here that we're going to talk about. And what I'd like to love to hear from you. Let's deal with uh, which is going to kind of feed into why we grow apart. I'd like to hear from you all. Give me some feedback on why do you think um, love fades, or why do people fall out of love? Why? Do people who just so overwhelmingly head over heels in love, it fades? Because I think that that's going to lead us into the conversation of expectations and growing apart. But I would love for you all to give me some feedback. I'll tell you my thoughts, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Why does love fade, and why? Um, Let me give you that second question. Why does love fade, which is going to lead into expectations? Um, it's also going to lead into why do we grow apart? Why do we grow apart? Why does love fade? And why do we grow apart? Those are the two I want you to give me some feedback on, and then I'm going to give you my analysis of this. It's all leading into a in-person boot camp that we're going to have on April 5th, and I'm going to put that up. Um, while I'm doing that, I want you all to give me your reasons as to why does love fade or why do we grow apart? Why does love fade and why do we grow apart? But on April 5th, so depending on when this airs, it may be before or after on our podcast platforms, I'm displaying a relationship boot camp in person session retreat that we're going to be doing on April the 5th. It's called the 10 Commandments of Marital Success. So we're discussing the issues on this podcast, but I want you to come to the boot camp because we're going to really dig into solutions and we're going to have a great time with that. So let me see what kind of comments you all are giving me. Y'all gonna work with me today. I don't make me do this all by myself. I'd love for you all to join in with this discussion today. Why does love fade? Why do people or couples or relationships grow apart? I only got a few responses. I thought you all would be have some feedback on this. One was looks like from Makita. She says, we assume because we were once in love, we automatically remain that way. Efforts subside. She says, so I guess what she's saying is we stopped doing whatever we were doing. And I always heard this phrase, whatever it took to get her is going to take it to keep her. So that's kind of Makita's response. Let's see, Ingrid says, when you marry young, you change as you grow older. So it's not the love change, it's you who have changed. That's a good point, Ingrid. But most people tend to marry young. In the Bible, they married as teenagers, and so that's not. And still, God wanted us, but that's a good point. We change. So what we were in love with at 18 and 22, we're not in love with at 38 and 42. That's an interesting perspective. My daughter Ebony says one or both of the people in a relationship forget who they are. You fell in love with who the person was, not what they become. You fell in love with who the person was, not what they become. Not what they become. Interesting concept there. A couple of more. People stop watering the relationship. It will dry up. If you don't water a thing, it will dry up and probably die. I love this one. Some people from George. Some people assume a person changed as opposed to the person evolving. A person changes versus a person evolving. I have some thoughts on that. Some people look back and realize their entire identity has been tied to being a spouse parent. Curiosity can get the best of you. I think that that entire identity being tied to that is where people lose their identity. So that's some good stuff here. One more from William. He says, I believe we see what I guess we want to the point of ignoring the things we don't like. The things we don't like. So Let's talk about this. Very good perspectives on why love fades and why our attitudes change, why we grow apart, why we fall out of love. And everything that I read and everything that I heard was 100% true. I think it's 100% accurate that these things happen, that we are young and now we're old. I once was young, but now I'm old. So, what I did and felt as a teenager or 20 something is not how I feel in my 40s or 50s. Who I fell in love with is not who I'm currently married to. Because I love how George said, they've evolved, they've changed. And so my philosophy is all those things are true. So what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to not get married until we get old? But if you get married when you're 40, don't you think you'll still be different by the time you get 60? Uh, I got married in my 20s, and my relationship ended 34 years later. So we actually made it through most of it, but not the empty nest stage. A lot of couples struggle in their relationships from the 20s to the 40s, but we had gotten past that, and still the relationship failed. So there's any number of reasons. That's why we've identified 10 of them. 10 of them. So the changes were always supposed to happen. Maturity was always supposed to happen. Evolution, we're supposed to evolve. I think all those things are 100% true. We are living organisms. We're not stagnant. So who I am as a 20 something is not who I will be as a 40 something, and certainly is not who I am when I'm 60 something and I have no filters. I think I said something last Wednesday and I'm like, well, did you just say that out loud? I think I was talking about my doctor and my prostate exams, but y'all pray for Pastor Will. And so things that you probably would never do in your 20s, you'll do when you get to 60. You just like, yeah, whatever. We evolve, we change. And so if that's the case, if I'm changing, the other person changing, the world is changing, life is changing, everything is always changing. Do you know that some of us grew up without these things called cell phones? You have to wait till you get home to make a phone call. Some of us literally grew up with when they did have cell phones. It was this big old giant thing that it was in your car. So did we call them mobile phones or car phones? I don't know, because so it was attached. You had a phone attached to your house, and you had a phone attached to your car. And then we had flip phones, and then all of a sudden this company came out with something called an iPhone and changed the world. All of a sudden you got a mini computer in your hand, and the world has not been the same. And then social media happened, and we started being connected through the internet and social media to things and people that we had never experienced. We started getting input and feedback. Imagine if you are in a very closed society versus all of a sudden exposed to the world, how that might change you. Imagine if the only preach words you heard was from your country preacher in a church with 100 people and 100 seats, and then all of a sudden you're hearing from guys out of California and Europe and all of this stuff. You think it might change you, change your perspective, change your life. And then you're physically changing. Your body is changing. Your mind is changing. Your attitudes are changing. You're starting to see stuff you ain't never seen before. Can I preach to somebody in here? I mean, they used to have some little magazines that you would peek at, but now it's right there on your phone. And so your whole attitude and life, everything is just exploding in us. So what did God intend? How did God intend for this stuff to happen? He had to know that it was coming. He had to know that we were maturing and growing, and that we were changing, and that the world would change and life would change. And I know that, and I actually believe that God knew it would get worse and worse. because the Bible says perilous times would come. The Bible says that God would have to come back eventually, except the very elect, even those who mean to do right, would still fail. And so God knew that these times would come. And so I believe that he prepared us. He prepared us. So when we talk about, let's talk about expectations. Let's talk about expectations. And so we have a certain set of expectations, and then they expand, and then they grow, and then they change. So I shared this story probably on this podcast, but I'll share it again. My wife and I, my former wife, that is, we did several things to maintain our relationship and our family. We did family vacations, we did family night outs, and then we did date nights. And we did these things. And but as a pastor, I'm extremely busy. I'm trying to build this thing called Victorious Praise, build this church. And then by nature, I'm a workaholic. So I couldn't do quantity time, but I always tried to do quality time. I always tried to do quality. One thing I know that I did fail at is even in my quality time, I would still away and do some workaholic stuff. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Am I the only person that even when you're doing quality time, if you get a minute, you'll make a quick call. If you get a minute, you'll work on it. And I had no choice. I mean, my wife wanted me when we was on vacation to be on vacation. And I was 90% of the time. But 10% of the time, I got to preach on something. And I know that bothered her, but I'm going to get back to my whole story. But so all of that being said, I always tried to make sure I did quality time. Do I have any quantity versus quality people on the call right now? Any quantity versus quality? I can go, I can travel, I can go to a marriage, go to a graduation, go to a funeral, but I'm taking my laptop with me. No, I'm serious. I could fly across the world, but I'm gonna get some stuff done. That's just who I was. And so, anybody else like that? You understand that I don't have the quantity, so I'm gonna try my best to do quality. So that was me. And so the expectation was, and where me and my spouse, I believe, strayed in this area is, I think she wanted undevoted quantity, and I could give her quality, and it wasn't undevoted. We'd be on vacation, and somewhere on that vacation, like if she out somewhere, we go to Vegas all the time. She out somewhere shopping. Oh, I got my iPad or something. I have it on my shoulder. I flip it out because I don't shop. I just sit down and find a place. You know how ladies, when y'all out shopping, they got the seats where the men sit. Okay, y'all gonna work with me. And so I go find my seat every time I went into a store. So in my mind, I'm trying to do both. I'm spending time with you, but I got to go work on this sermon. Somebody said they think that's so rude. Well, it is what it is, but I had to do it because the people ain't going. I can't come up there and get them leftover, warmed over message or just play the message. Y'all remember how good message was last Sunday? Well, we just gonna hit play and replay that. No, people come for a word from the Lord every Sunday. And so I would take my vacation during the week, but I know that on Sunday I got to bring it. I got to have my stuff together. So I would go even on vacation when my wife wanted to shop. I would go with her now. Don't misunderstand me. I would go with her, but I would find the man bench. She go in the Louis Vuitton store. She go in the St. John, and I know she going to be a while because, y'all go in them stores. Y'all going to take an hour. That's good time for me to work on my sermon. I ain't studying y'all. All y'all disagreeing with me. So I'm trying to give her a little quality and quantity, but it's not undivided. It's not undivided because I'm going to pull out my laptop. I'm going to pull out my iPad and start working on some things. Okay, now who's going to tell me that I was wrong? I know some of y'all in here telling me that I'm wrong. But you've got to When you are that guy, that dude, that leader, where the buck stops with you, you got to do what you got to do. And that's the way I was. I tried to give as much as I can, but I also have these obligations and responsibilities. Let me see some comments here. Y'all not working with me this afternoon. She don't want your leftover time. Stand there, grin and bear it. That is the devil. I wish. I just stand there for 40 minutes, 50 minutes. No, you just go try some on. And once you try it on, come over to the man bench and let me see it. I'll put the laptop down and say, yeah, that look good on you. That look good on you. And then she goes spend another 30 minutes looking for stuff. I go back and flip my iPad back open and get back to work. To me, that's called diversification. No, not diversification. What is that term I'm looking for? Where you're trying to do multiple things, multitasking, and I thought that I was pretty good at it. It at least worked for 30 some years. I raised two children with it. I built a ministry with it. I had a successful career at IBM with it. But that's how I did it. Now, with that in mind, expectations. My expectations was I'm going to give you as much as I can. Perhaps, and now she can only speak for herself, but I'm just going to speak in since she's not on this podcast. Perhaps her expectations were, I want it all. I want everything. I want everything. I want you to just sit there. Who that said grin and bear it? Makita. She said you just have to grin and bear it. No, I'm not a grin and bear it dude. I'm gonna do right by you, but I can't do everything. So these are what expectations are. So expectations. So we have this weekend. I'm getting to my story now. Let me see a few more comments before I get into my story. I told somebody one time I need 365-day worker just like me. I work for my money and then I work for the Lord, and by the Lord I mean I help my neighbors, I help my friends. He told me I let me see here. I help my neighbors, I help my friends. He told me I don't even like working for others. Then I realized we are not the same type of workers, so I had to go in God's peace. Well, that's a good point, and I think that's what dating is for, to find out who a person is. Perhaps schedule a guest preacher. Yeah, my pastor told me about that. And maybe looking in hindsight, I could have did that more. But one of the things that I learned growing up as a preacher is that people who are coming to your church are not there for your guest speaker, your guest preacher. They're there for you. They're there for the shepherd. They're there for the word that God has given you. You're the leader. And it's not that I haven't had guest speakers, because I do, but I only do them very sporadically. I do them for my anniversary. I do them when probably 2 or 3 times a year. Because I wanted to do more and more vacations, I didn't do it that often. I always felt like my vacation time is Monday through Saturday. Sunday is the Lord's day. And so I very rarely took vacations on Sunday. I didn't have no choice when I was in the hospital. I didn't have a choice when I went to Europe and they wouldn't get me back before Sunday. I was trying. I was like, how y'all gonna schedule a vacation on the Lord's day? But they did. So I have had guest speakers. I just don't do it regularly. Because when you have a visitor coming or a guest coming and they want to see what the church is about, they need to hear from you. So that's my perspective on that. As long as a card is being swiped, you can write 3 sermons. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I guess with shopping would be cool. All right, y'all giving me y'all feedback. I'm gonna come back and look at a few of those later. But going back to my story, I said, okay, I'm getting ready to lay it on my spouse. I'm I'm gonna just give her the perfect weekend. And the perfect weekend was we did our family night, we did our date night, we did all this on the same weekend. We went out and got some coffee, just me and her sitting Google eyed, put the kids were older, so we can just let them go on the bed and we slip out and did our little thing. And Sunday we had a powerful Lord's Day and blessed. And then I think we went to a movie or something. And then that Monday, so we're going through the whole weekend. That Monday, that Monday we got up and we had breakfast. We went to work out together. And I think we maybe even did a little small lunch. And so we've had what I consider a very good weekend. And then right after the lunch, I say to my former spouse, I need to run up to the church. She became infuriated. Now, in my mind, I've just batted 100 for the weekend. But running up to the church to get something done real quick just destroyed everything I had done all that weekend. And it reminded me and got me into this mindset of expectations. Expectations. And so the way I look at expectations is most people expect out of you what they want from you, not out of you what you can give them. And there is the problem. This is what I expect from you, as opposed to this is what you can give me. And it's not, well, that's settling. And I don't look at that as settling. I look at that as understanding who you're dealing with. If you are married to a workaholic, then you can't expect that workaholic to give you 100% undivided attention 24/7, because that's not who you're married to. Now, maybe you didn't know that's who you was marrying. It doesn't really matter. That's who you're married to now. Maybe you didn't understand. And so to me, the whole point of dating and marriage is not fixing a person or changing a person. It is finding out who the person is and then saying, does the good outweigh the bad? And if the good does outweigh the bad, then work with the good and stop losing your mind over the bad. I'm going to say that again. Work with the good and stop losing your mind over the bad. Stop trying to fix the bad. Stop trying to change the bad, because fixing something that you can't fix, changing something that you can't change, only creates exasperation and frustration. Meanwhile, if you accept what you have, then you live in a whole different world. For example, you got two children. One of your children is a straight A student, and one at best are giving you D's. Now, you will frustrate yourself and that D student, both you and him, all your life if you want that D student to give you A's like their brother or their sister. They are incapable of doing that. Now, it's not that they can't do better, but they can't do an A, because that's not who they are. So you have unrealistic expectations of that D student because you're trying to measure them to a A student. And I don't care what you say, when a person is not giving you something repetitively and continuously and over, then they are incapable of doing that, whether it's physically incapable, emotionally incapable, or spiritually incapable. They are incapable of doing that. I'm not saying that they can't get better. I'm not even saying that they can't change. I'm saying that is not who they are. And you will infuriate and frustrate yourself trying to fix a person who may be unfixable, or to change a person who may be unchangeable. They are who they are. Your job is to find out who that person is and then work with that person. And so rather than criticizing your D student, encourage them. Rather than being frustrated with them, help them, give them solutions, show them strategies. And then when they go from a D to a C, instead of saying to them, well, your brother got an A, no, you say, oh my God, you've jumped up to a C. Now, why did I tell you that story? because that weekend that I had given my wife was way above my pay grade. I had done a whole lot to try to please her, but because of one failure, she blew it all. She said she got infuriated. In fact, didn't want to talk to me for a few days, all that kind of stuff. So now, when a person tries to do better, but it still doesn't measure up to your expectations, and you poo-poo it, what are they going to do next? They're going to do what I thought in my head. There just ain't no pleasing you. But now, if you accept me for who I am, and then I do some increase, maybe the Lord dealing with me. Maybe I went to a marriage boot camp and I said, you know what? Maybe I could do a little more things. So I go from a level, and I'm gonna put levels with it. Let's say that I'm normally a level 3, but my wife wants a level 10. I'm a level 3. She wants a level 10. I'm a level 3 when it comes to doing the whole marriage and relationship and quality time and quantity time. I'm a level 3. She wants a level 10. But this week, I worked so hard and I doubled my efforts. Now, I don't care what you say. Anybody who doubled their efforts ought to be congratulated, right? Y'all quiet on me. If you double your efforts, you ought to be congratulated. But my efforts went from a 3 to a 6. Okay, y'all with me? My efforts went from a 3 to a 6. I think I'm killing it. Yeah, it's still just a C plus, but I used to get D's. So I got a 6 when I normally get a 3. And because the other person wants a 10, even if I got to a 9, they still wouldn't be happy. Even if I got to a 9, in my relationship stuff, and my love stuff, and my quality time stuff, and all of that. Because I think I was at a 9 that weekend. Y'all ain't working with me. But that one little hitch, and it was done. It was finished. Okay, y'all gonna work with me? Act like I'm not talking, because I'm talking. Because it's expectations. If she expected a 3, why would she expect a 3, Pastor? Because that's all I've been giving her. I'm not saying she was happy with the 3. I'm saying she know that Will is a 3. When it comes to relationship, oh boy, it's just a 3. I believe that that's why people stayed together. They understood, they got a chance to figure out who that person was, and they accepted it. They weren't looking across the town for somebody else. They wasn't cheating around here. They wasn't talking about I could do better and all that kind of crap. They said, this is the choice that I made, and I'm going to learn to live with it. And I believe that the power of the Holy Ghost is what has been given to us to accept life as it is, not as we want it to be. Paul said, I've learned how to be content in whatever state I'm in. Okay, y'all didn't think I was going to go Bible on y'all, did you? Yeah. I wanted Denzel Washington, but I got Pookie Washington. Y'all ain't working with it, brother. I wanted Beyonce, but I got Shay Shay. Nay, nay. Y'all ain't working with me. But now that I realize what I got, I have to accept that. Y'all gonna work with me today? I have to accept it. And once I accept it, then I stop being frustrated with what I got. I got what I got. I got what I got. Stop being frustrated with your life. Stop being frustrated with your mate. Stop being frustrated with your resources, your finances. God has given me the power to do all things, even to put up with this 3. God has given me the power to endure my 3-level spouse, my 3-level husband, my 3-level wife. God has given me the power. I teach all of this stuff in my books. I talk about this. I know we want people to be what we want them to be, but they were never supposed to be that. They can only be who they are. Let me say that again. They can only be who they are. They may get better over time, but how long has it taken you to get to who you are today? Even if you say sanctified, baptized, and filled with the Holy Ghost and that with fire, that did not happen on day one, at least not for most of us. Some people tell you that, when I got saved, I never smoked another cigarette. When I got saved, I never drank another drink. When I got saved, God took all the taste away. I didn't chase women no more. I didn't do none of this. Well, praise God for your miracle. But for the rest of us, we had to take classes. For the rest of us, we failed some of them classes too. We were saved, but we ain't gonna act like I ain't go back there and do a little something. I was a saved Q, but every now and then I went on to the party and was on the dance floor. Okay. I was saved, but that girl was looking pretty hot. Y'all still ain't working with it, brother. Y'all don't like me. I was still saved. But there's a reason why God gives us an unlimited supply of mercy, because we keep failing. There's a reason why God says, come to the throne of grace daily and do it boldly, because he knew that the enemy would try to punk us out and tell us we're not worthy because we fail. We always fail. We make mistakes, but we get better. That's what sanctification is. And so if my spouse says, okay, I have a man who's a workaholic. He gonna do his best. He gonna try to give me some quality time, but he gonna slip his little message in. See, earlier y'all said, get a guest speaker. Well, that's nice, cute, and fine. But see, you're trying to fix me as opposed to accept me. To accept me is to say, this is who I am. This is the way I believe it needs to be done. This is the way God has given me. And I've had more successes than failures. We do have a multi-million-dollar ministry. So I believe that I'm on the right track. Now, I can see if I'm doing all of this and I'm still in the storefront after 30 years. I can see if I'm doing all of this and we still broke, busted, and disgusted. You'd be like, Ninja, come on now. You got to at least get a couple of wins here. I mean, I don't want to be 0-10. Can we at least be 3-7? Can we at least have some successes? Can a sister at least, get a new pair of shoes, even if they're not red bottoms? Can we get some orange bottoms? I don't know. Do they got purple bottoms? Do they have? I know you ain't gonna ever be able to afford them red bottoms, but can you? I know you ain't gonna be able to get the St. John's, and my wife could get anything she wanted. I know you can get to St. John's, but can we at least get St. Peter's? Are there any clothes called St. Peter's? Okay, y'all work with me. At least help a sister to be able to go to a Burlington Coat Factory before they shut down. I gotta always go to Kmart. Okay. And so if your 3 is still giving you some level of success, then you have to learn how to embrace the 3. Embrace the 3. Give them a little helmet and a little short bus and say, baby, you're doing good. You're doing good. Just give them a little helmet and a little short bus and encourage the heck out of them and let them know, baby, you're doing your best. And then when they go from a 3 to a 6, which is what I did from time to time, instead of complaining that it's not a 10, encourage them. Say, boy, you killed it today. You put it on the table today. You put it down today. Okay, y'all, maybe I shouldn't have said you put it on the table, but I told you I'm older now. I have no filters anymore. You put it down today, baby. Even if it ain't a 10, let them know when they put it down. Let them know. Oh, okay. Give them. I love that. It said, give them some. She said, gold star. Put a little star up there, baby. You did good today. You didn't go to timeout at all. They go to timeout every day, but you only went to timeout 2 times today. Yeah, you praised them. You stopped criticizing them and complaining because they're unrealistic expectations. They're unrealistic expectations. And it only makes you and the other person frustrated, and they're frustrated all the time. Let me read that definition of when I talk about unrealistic expectations. That's a tough thing to be. Different visions, you have different visions, you have different plans, you have different priorities, your lifestyle choices are very different, you grew up very differently, and because of these you can fundamentally disconnect unless you accept each other for who they are and you embrace those differences rather than complain and criticize those differences. I need y'all to get this right here. These expectations have to change, because if they don't, they contribute to growing further and further apart. Because the thing that brought you together was way back then. Maybe we got together because of good looks, and I would be the first one to be guilty of that. I like a pretty woman. I'm just gonna tell y'all right now. I don't even open the book cover if I don't. I don't even open the book if I don't like the cover. I don't even open the book if I don't like the cover. Now, I want some stuff in the book to please me, but I got to get the cover. But if all you ever focus on was the book cover, the further you get away from that book cover, you're gonna be in trouble, because that's the only thing that's holding you apart, holding you together. And so people come together for different reasons, and which is going to bring me to the second topic about why we grow apart. This one is clearly one, the wrong expectations, not shifting and changing those expectations. But the second reason is we don't understand the value of reestablishing connections. I don't care why you got together. You need more than why you got together. So when I open the book and I begin to learn different things, I have to start re-embracing my connection and connecting for other reasons other than my original reasons, because that may be 10 years old. You may have liked me when I was tall, dark, and handsome, but at my age, I'm just dark. I ain't tall no more. I'm hunched over. Y'all gonna work with me? I'm a handsome no more. Got wrinkles and all this stuff going on. You like my figure eight, but now my figure eight is a figure O. Y'all not gonna work with a brother in this place. And this pudging and budging and that beautiful hair you used to like, it's now thinned out, and I'm wearing wigs all the time that don't fit right, and the mesh and whatever that stuff y'all put across the top here is showing, and all that kind of stuff. And it just, those original reasons are no longer there. What I tell couples is you have to get into a cycle, just like we do with the Lord, of reconnecting over and over again. I tell couples, I do something called the 30-day makeover. I do it with couples who are just getting married, couples who are struggling in their marriage, and we talk about it at all of our boot camps. The one that we got coming up on April the 5th. Let's get that little commercial in. Y'all make sure y'all come to that. But you have to redo it all the time, the same way we do it all the time with the Lord. You got saved 20 years ago, but I hope that wasn't the last experience you had with the Lord. I hope that wasn't the last time you had an emotional experience with the Lord. You have to study, you have to work, you have to rejoice. And then what you did last year, you may have to do something completely different this year to redo that. You get a new word. It's something from the same Bible, but you get a fresh perspective. It's from the same scriptures, but you get a new insight. You begin to appreciate it differently and better. Yeah, I like the figure 8, but now I like the figure O because you can still work it. Okay, I don't know. I just made that up. But my point is you just have to find, or maybe you don't even look at the figure anymore. You just look at the butter face. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, because that's the opposite of the pretty face. But whatever. My point is you have to change your perspectives. You have to change the way you look at it. I have to appreciate the fact that you put up with me all these years. That's the one thing that challenged me in the situation with my former wife. It's like, I know I changed, but I thought it was pretty good. And I thought that, you would hang in there with me, even with my challenges and my problems. It's not that I don't have challenges and problems, because we all do. I'm not a 10, I'm a 3.5. And sometimes I double it to a 6, 6.5, 7. I'm not the greatest preacher in the world, but some Sundays I be crushing it. Are y'all with me? Some Sundays I feel like, boy, you killing it today. And then other Sundays I'm like, y'all be like, oh, that was a cute message, Pastor. But you hang in there with me. And that's my point. That's what we have to do. And so you have to appreciate for different things and for different reasons. I encourage couples to go through a 30-day makeover every year, because it could very well be that the thing that I loved about you may be changing. And so I have to find something else that I love. It could be that the thing that who I was back then is not who I am today. And so we go through these things about needs. Young couples, you know what you need? Sex and love. And that's how y'all fall in love. He hitting it and she feeling good. Uh, the girl play at sex to be loved, the boy play at love to be sex. So he'll do all of that affectionate stuff because he think he gonna get some. And she give it up because she thinks she gonna be loved. And that's what they need. Those are the first two needs of a couple: love and sex and love. And they do that at the beginning of the relationship. But 10 years in, 2 kids later, bills, finances, that figure eight is slowly warping out, and the tall, dark, and the handsome is certainly fading away. Well, then all these things are going to fade away unless you start to appreciate other things like family commitment, financial support, stroking my ego, all these things that I've taught. And when you do that, then you develop a different type of appreciation for your mate. You develop a different set of expectations for your mate. And you're not frustrating and infuriating each other all the time, or convincing yourself that you can't take it no more. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So for me to say I can't put up with you is to deny the power of God. For me to say I'm frustrated with you is to deny God's power. No, I don't like you right now, but God has given me a set of tools called love, joy, peace, and long suffering that will help me to get through this season and this period with you. I always believed that, and I still believe it to this day. And I never thought I would be in my situation of having split up and separated and divorced, because I felt like two people who have that power, who have that knowledge, that wisdom, will get through those periods where our expectations are shifting and changing, and where we feel like we're growing apart. And then we will come back together, because we will do the things necessary to do it. We will change our expectations. We will shift our lives. We realize that we're growing and maturing, and that things are evolving, and so on and so forth. And then we will appreciate the evolving. We will appreciate the fact that now the beautiful hair is a wig, with the stuff on it, so I can't see it. Y'all ain't working with a brother in this place. Now the evolving is a girdle. If you want to figure eight, come pull this strap. Well, I guess y'all don't do girdles, y'all do Spanx now. But help me pull this thing up. And then by the time she pull it up and pull that little push-up thing there and pull that little tight thing in there, you'd be like, well, that's close to a figure eight. It might be a 7.5, but we can work with that. We can work with a 6.5. It ain't quite an 8. It ain't all the 8, but it give you the simulation of it. It's pulled it in a little bit, and you can work with that, and you can work with a man who's trying. If you change your level of expectations, if you stop making yourself infuriated and frustrated and discombobulated. I'm gonna close with this. One thing, and I'm being a little personal right now and transparent right now. one thing that I remember my spouse saying was she felt like if she stayed in a relationship, she was going to die. If she stayed in a relationship, she was going to die. I remember that. And I can't remember the context of it. I just remember the statement. And I don't know if she said it to me or said it to somebody else and they said it to me. I can't remember. And of course, it was a total shock to me because I thought I was a good guy. I still think I'm a good guy, but I thought I was a good guy. But see, but to me, good might be a 3. So I'm killing my 3, but I'm a good 3. Maybe I shouldn't use 3. Let's go with 5. I'm a 5. I'm killing my 5. I've been using the 3 as an analogy, so just change all my 3s to 5s. I'm a good 5. I'm committed. I'm faithful. I'm dedicated. I'm loyal. I'm dependable. You're gonna always have a place to stay, food to eat. You're gonna have a car to drive. Your kids gonna get taken care of. So I'm a good 5. I'm a good 5. I'm a good 5. And every now and then I'll have a burst of energy, and that 5 will become an 8.5. That 5 will become an 8.5, and I'll kill it that weekend. Let's say we take a trip to Aruba, and we just down there in Aruba. And if anybody ever been to Aruba, you got to go. It's the perfect place in the world. The temperature never varies no more than 2 degrees every day. It goes down to about 84, 85, and it goes up to about 86, 87 every day. Google it, Aruba. That's why it's a perfect vacation. It's like perfectly centered on the equator or something like that. And the temperature hardly ever changes. Even in the winter, it may go down 2 extra degrees and go up, but it never changes. It's a perfect place. It's almost probably where God had the Garden of Eden at originally. No, seriously, trust me on that. And so we've been to Aruba, and we went to Barbados, and we went to we did everything. The only thing we didn't do was Europe, which I got a chance to do that 2 years ago, unfortunately, without her, and that was something that she wanted to do. I had to do it by myself. Uh, um, but we did all of those things. Hawaii, and then the favorite spot was Vegas. We went to Vegas twice a year. I've been seeing the Michael Jackson show at least 20 times, and I can still watch it 20 more times. We just did those things. So during that time, my 5 goes to an 8.5, and an 8.5, and an 8.5. And so I'm killing it that week. And then I go back down to my 5 because I got to get back in the grind mode. I got to build this church. I got to do the Lord's work. I got to start trying to figure out how to grow in the national church and reach people all over the country. So I'm back at my 5 in the grind mode. But I still think that I'm a decent guy. I'm a good guy. I don't beat on my wife. I don't cheat on my wife. I'm there when she needs me, and she handling all the money, the finances. She got the credit card to check, do whatever she want to do. She want to work, she works. She don't want to work, she don't have to work. She called in, say I ain't doing no meetings today. They just cancel her meetings, and so I thought I had provided a fairly good life. But if she wanted a 10, then every time I gave her a 5, it infuriated her, it frustrated her, it bothered her. And no matter what I did, it would never be good enough. And now I'm not trying to put this on her or me. I'm just trying to show you, because it could be the opposite as well. It could be the reverse. And if you talk, there's 2 sides of the story, their side, your side, and then God's side. So I'm just giving you my side. But my point is that it got to a point where I believe the person felt like they literally, if they have to keep putting up with this 5, they're gonna die. If I have to keep putting up with this crap one more time, I feel like I'm going to die. If I have to keep putting up with you, I feel like I'm going to die. If I can't get a 10, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm not saying that's realistic. I'm just saying this is my perception, my side of the story. And since I'm the pastor, the preacher, and the head of this podcast, I'm going to give you my side. Everybody else can do their own podcast and give you their side, but this is mine. And hopefully it's making some sense to you as you begin to deal in your relationships. You can literally convince yourself that you're in the worst situation, even though you may not be. okay, that you are in a bad situation, even though you may not be, you're just not in your expected situation. And so, if you're not in your expected situation, maybe you need to change your expectation. Somebody will say, well, Pastor, isn't that settling? I don't look at it that way. I look at it as being realistic. I look at it as God wanted us to live holy, but realistically, He gave us mercy. Okay, I'm going to say that one more again because that was good. God wants us to be holy, sanctified, baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, and that with fire. No sin, no nothing, no fornication, no lying, no all the things thou shalt not. God wants us to be perfect. So that was what God wanted. But realistically, He gave us mercy for a reason. Why was that? Because we couldn't live up to that perfect expectation. It may not seem perfect to you, but if the person that you are expecting it from can't give it to you, then that's unrealistic. And so the realistic part is to understand what that person can give to you and then embrace them and accept them and give them grace and mercy. Grace and mercy. If you don't do that, then you will become frustrated and feel like I'm just going to die. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. It's going to be in my next book. I'm sticking with it. That's my truth, and I'm sticking with it. I said what I said. So that's it. I want y'all to come to the boot camp. Now, it's not going to just be me sharing. We got 5 other couples that are going to be giving you the training and the stuff that the Lord has placed in our hearts on the spiritual connection, the physical connection, the emotional connection, the love connection, and the sexual connection. We're going to look at these 10 reasons why marriages and relationships fail, and we're going to give you a whole bunch of tools. We're going to give you a whole bunch of stuff that has been proven. Couples who do these things tend to succeed in their relationships, and couples who don't do it, they fail. They fail. And if you get 2 people in a relationship willing to put in the effort and the work, they can resolve their conflicts, they can grow old, they can deal with their changes, they can deal with their evolutions, they're evolving, and they can grow old and be grateful together and have a beautiful life. So make sure y'all come to that boot camp. I'll be back next week. Y'all share this with somebody. Hopefully you got something out of it, even though it was mostly just me talking. But y'all pray for Pastor Will, because, I got to market my little 5. I don't plan on being single for the rest of my life. I'm not in a hurry, though. But I am looking for somebody that don't mind having a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That sometimes gets to a 1, 2, 3, 8 and a half. That's a half right there. Stop, Pastor Will. I shouldn't have said that. I told y'all I don't have a filter. That's what's wrong with when you get my age. You just say whatever comes on your mind. You just literally say what comes on your mind. Hopefully y'all got something out of it. Don't just live life. Live a victorious life and have an amazing day. Y'all be blessed. Oh, did somebody say I should market myself as an 8? No, that's unrealistic. You may only get an 8 every other week. No, I'm a 5. Y'all take it easy.